Hello, so I'm Estelle Auberix, Microsoft Regional Director and Azure MVP. I'm a cloud and architect solution, and specialize in cloud, edge cloud, IoT, cybersecurity, and my hobby are robots and quantum computing. You can join me on the social networks through Twitter or LinkedIn otherwise.
Hi everyone, I'm Sylvestre Franceschi, and thank you very much, Simon, for the introduction. That was a beautiful video. So I'm an IoT and cloud consultant. I'm an expert about IoT and robot over AI.
So the session agenda, we're going to make it quick because we had a lot of things to talk about. So a quick introduction, then a presentation about Power Apps and Azure IoT all services. What is really important, the connectors and gateway concept. Then a quick presentation of an application, and to finish the advantages and going further after this session. So to introduce, we have the Power Apps. The Power Apps platform is part of the larger Microsoft Power Platform. So it includes Power BI, Power Automate, and Power Virtual Agent. In this session, we are going to use only Power Apps, and all these application can be connected with the data connectors, AI Builder, or Dataverse. The general architecture that we can see here is you can connect devices or data through Azure IoT Edge to Azure IoT Hubs plus DPS. Azure IoT Hubs and DPS can be replaced by Azure IoT Centrals, which we will present you later in this presentation. To manipulate the data, we can stream them through Azure Stream Analytics or create some trigger with Azure function, and we also can storage them directly in Azure Storage or CosmoDB, and then that's right. And at the end, we can have the data through business integration. For example, it's in Dynamics 365 or Microsoft 365. Either it can be in the web or mobile app through API, and we can get the data directly in the Power Platforms and Power BI apps. So the use case that we're going to study in this session is a micro fulfillment center. This is we are going to share our slides after the presentation, so you're going to have the links in order to access to this example. This is an example created by Microsoft, and you can directly deploy it in Azure IoT Central. So what is interesting that with this example, we will have some sample of data through IoT connectors and also IoT edge architecture, and then we will have all the data and visualize them in Azure IoT Central, and then we can connect IoT Central directly to our Power Apps in order to get the data and to have more action depending of the value of the data. So Power Apps, how to begin with Power Apps? So you can have a 3 days Power Apps trial, and there's a link in order to sign up for the Power Apps. After, you will have to pay depending of your using, but you also can use the community plans. The limitation of the community plans is that you can deploy only one apps per one apps. So that's hard, but it's okay if you have to learn or if you use the apps only for you. So to plan your Power Apps project, you have to make several actions. So first, you have to plan it. So how to plan it? It's by interrogate by asking to your business colleagues or the user, the final users, in order to be really near of the user needs at the end. Then you will design your apps and make it through the tools that Microsoft provide you in the Power Platform. You will be able to test your apps before deploying and refine it. So the building blocks for the Power Apps are to make the Power Apps directly in the web in the web interface, which is powerapps.microsoft.com. You can use also the Power Apps Studio, which is a YZWiles tools, and you can with the Power Apps Admin Center, you will be able to manage all the rights, the rules, and the security in your Power Apps. So what is really important with the Power Apps that you have three ways to deploy your Power Apps. Not to deploy, but three kind of Power Apps: a Canvas Power Apps, a model-driven Power Apps, or a portal. How to choose between this kind of Power Apps? So if you are aware about the user experience, it's you can use the Canvas apps because it's really dedicated for that. If you have mainly your data models, you will use model-driven apps. And if you have to share your apps with external users or on an external website, you will have to use portals in order not to have to pay too much license for your final end users. So what is really important with Power Apps that you can generate directly mobile apps when you create a Power Apps, and the mobile apps can be for Windows, iOS, and Android device, and it's allow you to use all the apps that you created. So you will have to deploy your apps and to download only the Power Apps, the mobile Power Apps from Microsoft, and then you will access directly to your Power Apps. So just a quick demo. It's mainly some screenshot because we don't have very much time to switch between the screen. When you connect to your Power Apps interface, you will have this kind of screen. So this is a home, and you can choose which kind of Power Apps you want to create. If it's in a Canvas app or a model-driven app, or from Blank, or a portal app. But you can also use some templates, and there's few of them depending of your final needs. But if you have a lot of differences to between the template provided by Microsoft, I really advise you to create your apps from blank, because sometimes when you have too many changes to do, it's more difficult to use to do from a final app rather than from a blank app. So if you create Canvas apps, it's you don't have, because this is low code, so you don't have to be a developer. So just follow the steps. When you use a Canvas app, you have to click on the Canvas app from blank, then create your name and follow all the steps. After, you will have a YZWiles interface, and you will be able to choose each element that you want to put in your app and to connect with your data. This is the object of the final demo. This is almost the same when you choose to create your mobile app, your model-driven app from blank. The difference is that you're going to start from your data. So your mobile-driven app is going to be built from the structure of your data. So be sure that the structure is right for your data, because your final app really depends on it. From the portal app, it's a little bit easier. It's pretty kind to create a website with the assistance of the tutorial of Microsoft. So I'm going to let Sylvestre to speak about Azure IoT and to present all the concept about it.
Thank you very much, Estelle. So how to begin with Azure IoT Central? We have to create an Azure free account. You can create that over the website Azure, and we can create a service IoT Central over Azure with a free plan for 7-day trial. Or if you want, you can charge it with the rate plan. So the Azure IoT technology, you can pass, please, Estelle.
Sorry.
Thank you. Over Azure, we have 5 elements, big family over Azure IoT. You have the Azure IoT Security Center for the IoT device, services, etc. You have IoT Central Application Template to deploy a full managed services about IoT with some service about IoT. Or you can manage Azure IoT solution like Azure IoT Central, or Azure IoT services like Azure IoT Hub. It's a service over Azure. Or you can manage device on the edge, on-premise, with Azure and with Azure device edge solution. Yes, you can go to the next. Thank you, Estelle. So you have IoT Hub and IoT Central. We have 2 big elements on Azure. The Azure IoT Hub is a PaaS solution, and Azure IoT Central is a SaaS solution. So you can have a full managed services with Azure IoT Central, and Azure IoT Hub. You can manage your device and your measure with the IoT Hub. We have some difference. So Azure IoT Hub requires the user to create own repository to define and manage device message template, and you can provision your device with Azure IoT Hub. And Azure IoT Central is a solution to define and manage devices template centrally based on device type. I will show you on the next slide how to do that. Thank you, Estelle. Azure IoT Central architecture, as well as device created using the Azure IoT SDK, you can also connect Azure IoT Edge device to an IoT Central application. IoT Edge lets you run to cloud intelligence and custom logic directly on an IoT device managed by IoT Central. You can install and update workload on the device, maintain IoT Edge security standard on the device, ensure that IoT Edge modules are always running or not, report module else to the cloud for remote monitoring, manage communication between downstream, live device, and IoT Edge devices. I will make you a quick demo over Azure IoT Central. I share my screen.
I'm going to stop sharing.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Do you see my screen? That's right. Okay. When you start with Azure IoT Central, you are on this interface. would let you do something like manage devices you're already provisioned, or manage some device groups, make some rules over the device, take some analytics, and start with some job. And as I say before, you can create a template, a device template. For example, you can create a device template MXChip. It's a device, it's a IoT device that connect easily with Azure and some services for IoT and Azure. And you can take some measure like accelerometer, the gyroscope, humidity, temperature, etc., and manage your interface to see something like that. You can see the temperature actually you have at Estelle Auberix in France, in the south of France. So we have 26 degrees at Estelle, and we have that in humidity, and you can run some command to display some text on the device of Estelle. And you can see all raw data we have to get on the IoT Central. Like that, you have a telemetry measure with humidity, pressure, and temperature we can catch into the Azure IoT Central. I give you back the hand, Estelle, to the share screen.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. When you start with IoT, yes, thank you. When you start with IoT Central, you have to get this interface, so you can create an application to manage your system with IoT device. You can make multiple application to manage multiple systems. So, and you can manage every device by application. When you create your app, you have a dashboard, and you can create your first devices templates, or start with quick start demo, or make some tutorials or some documentation. It's a platform you can manage easily, even if you are not a developer. Thank you. And the other service you can manage is Azure IoT Hub or Azure IoT Central on Azure. Azure IoT Hub is just a hub to get some messages or device health time. Microsoft lets you to create some simulator like MXChip Simulator to connect with Azure IoT Central or Azure IoT Hub, and you can switch on or switch off the LED on this interface, or take some pressure or temperature or humidity measure with this interface. Its interface, you can make some code into Python, or if you want, you can make some code into C language.
So what is important when you want to create a connection with your data is to use the connectors and the gateway. So at the beginning, I told you that there's almost 300 connectors already available for the Power Platform. But what is really, really important, it's you should use a gateway in order to connect your data, especially if your data are stored in local. So the connector are three connectors available. You have two kinds of connectors. The standard ones, which are for SharePoint, Outlook, YouTube, and you have the premium one, which are was not free. That's SQL Server, SurveyMonkey, or MailChimp. And the connectors are shared in two classifications, the enterprise one and the non-professional. So what the difference between the two classifications is enterprise data are considered to be for professional, and non-professional are really about individual data, and which one are under the law in Europe or under the law on the OGPD. So you also can create your custom connector. If you don't find the right connector in the 300 already available, you can create your own connector. You have to be a developer if you want to create your connectors. And in order to create your custom connectors, you have to connect your directly the API to the app or the Power Apps or the Power Flow, the automator. Because Flow it's the whole name for Power Automate. Although you can connect your API directly to the Logic app. So the process to create your custom connectors is you build and secure your own API, generally with API management if you have all your data in Azure. You describe your API and define the connector. You use your connector. You can share your connector. It's optional. If only your entreprise or your entity is using the connector, you can share inside your entity. But and if you want to share it outside your entity, you have to be certified by Microsoft. What is important to remember about the connector and that you can use only one connector to connect 3 different databases from different owners. That is really simple. When you use a custom connector, you can use it with either with Power Apps, Power Automate, or Azure Logic App. And you have 3 approaches to create your custom connector. You can create it from a blank custom connector, so it's from scratch. You can create it from open API from an open API definition. Either you can create your custom connector from a Postman connection, which is really practical. Something it's really important that if the connector already exists, you can't create your own connector. In the rules of Microsoft, you will have to use the existing connector instead your own connector. So it's because this is the mindset of the low code. You have to go to the easy way, and if the connector already exists, this is not the easy way to create a new one. So the concept of the gateway is all your data are going to pass through a gateway in order to be securized, to securize your data and also to securize either your app in the cloud. So this is really a secure gate for your data, and that's really important when you have some guarantee to give to your end client. So how can we create an app? So this is a demo. So when in our example, we deployed the fulfillment project from Microsoft, which created directly an IoT Central app. And so this IoT Central app is going to be visible in your Azure portal, but only if you don't choose the free option, because when you create an IoT Central app, you will have several choices, and there is one. The first one is the free choice that you can test the app during 7 days. But as this is free, all the data and all the app are on the Microsoft servers, but not on your portal. So if you choose the first option, which is the free option, don't be surprised if you can't see your IoT Central app directly in your portal. But if you choose paid option, you will have directly your IoT Central in your portal. So this is the demo fulfillment center that we can see directly in this one. And the Logic app I created is not I created after in order to use it in the mobile app in the Power Apps. So the fulfillment center already deployed by directly deployed through a Microsoft deployment button. It looks like that. So you will have directly a dashboard with all data with some simulated devices, but you also can create your own devices. So in this example, we instances a new devices like MXChip, the one that I've got in this. So when you want to create a new devices, you first have to create a template. So you just have to choose directly in the template and to find if the template already existed. So for the MXChip, it's already exists. You just have to create a search or to check all template. What is important with this kind of templates that they are all certified by Microsoft. So when you choose your template, you will be able to create your own devices. So we created 3 devices. One is the hardware one, which is MXChip NIS. This is a real one. We also created a MXChip Simulator template, which because in the IoT Centrals, Microsoft give you the opportunity to create some twin devices and to generate some fake data. It's really important if you want to use some machine learning for your app or for your needs after. So when you created your devices, then you can connect it I deleted the primary key, secondary key for secure reasons. But when you click on the connect button, you will have this kind of screen, and you can see the ID scope, the name of your device, and a primary key and secondary key. Generally, we use the primary key in the app, and if you have to share a key of your device with outside contractors or with other people from your team, you can share the secondary key. Why don't you have to share the primary key? Because if you want to change the key, you won't have to change it in your code if you will dedicate it. If you dedicate one key for your code and another key for the sharing, and if you have to stop to share it, it's really easy to generate a new key and not to have to change your code instead of. And for the MXChip, this is the end of the parameters of the MXChip. And you can see that for the IoT central settings, you have to report the device ID, the name of the ID, and the primary key that we just have to paste and to copy and paste your primary key. And then this is pictures of the IoT screen, the MXChip, and you can see there's a blue light It's just behind the green light. So the green light is for the Wi-Fi, so that can say that the devices is well connected to the Wi-Fi, and the blue light is the indicator that the devices is well connected to Azure. So then when the devices is connected to Azure, you will have all the data reporting directly in the IoT Central, and you will have the database directly in it. And so at the moment of the screenshot, I have 23 degrees Celsius. It's not Fahrenheit, it's Celsius, so it's warmer in the south of France. And that's how we get the data in the real time. So the thermostat is fake data. It's a simulate device generated directly by Microsoft in this app. But this you can see that it's some kind of like in Power Apps, in Power BI. Sorry, you can you can create your own dashboard, select your tiles, and get the data in the tiles what you want. It's pretty it's the same system as in Power BI when you create your dashboard in Power BI. So then this is okay. In the IoT Central, you can create some rules, and the rules are the action or the triggers that you're going to create, and so you can directly parameters your alert in IoT Central. So and to connect it to the other Power Platform apps, you at the bottom of the screen you can see that you can connect your alert directly through an email, a webhook, Azure Monitor in order to monitor every data. But you also can connect it to Microsoft Power Automate or Microsoft Azure Logic app. For the Power Apps, I used to use the Azure Logic app because I'm confident in Azure, and I'm more a rookie in the Power Platform. That's why. So when you want to create directly with Power Automate, you will have to choose your connectors, and then to fill the form directly and follow the steps. It's pretty easy like that. And there's two connectors for Azure IoT Central. This is the V2 and the V3. The V3 is in preview, but we use directly the V3. It's pretty stable, but you have to know that if your Power Apps account is not the same as your Azure account, you will have to do some action in your Active Directory, and you will have to allow the multi-tenant sign-on in your app, because if you have only the single sign in your app, your connector won't work. And so that's when you choose the Azure IoT Central V3 directly in the Power Automate, you can see that it's already connected to Microsoft 365, and in this example is with Outlook. The last shot is when you create the Azure Logic app workflow. It's pretty the same, rather like the Power Automate, but you have some different information to fill in the form. So there's a new connection. So in this screen, you can see the Azure Central V2 and the Azure Central V3. To be honest, I really don't. I never use Azure Central V2, and I don't know really the difference between the both versions. And at the end, that's there's a kind of, this is a pretty simple application that I created. So this is a mobile app created from a Canvas app, Power Apps, and so this is pretty simple. I have the name of the device, a picture, so it will be the same pictures for every each kind of devices, and I get the data from the IoT central interface. So I took the whole data of temperature, humidity, pressure, and gyroscope, and I put the both data for temperatures and pressure. So if in this app, it's pretty simple. Temperature and pressure are also a button, and if temperature or pressure appears in red color, that means that this is an alert. So I can push on the button, and I'm going to trigger some new action, like sending an email in order to prevent that we have to check why the temperature is not normal or is too high or not. That's why. So it's pretty simple, but you can create everything you want depending on of your needs. So Sylvestre,
Yes.
I'm going to let you to finish the session.
Yes. We discussed about advantages and going further. So excuse me. Advantages, it's a quick start over the Power App platform and IoT Central. As you see, you can manage IoT solution and application with Power App in few clicks, and you can develop some user interface and some business application, and provide professional developer with customization tools to integrate into our proprietary. Sorry. For example, I'm a developer. If I have to manage, to create a solution from scratch, I won't be able to go as fast as we see today. But we have some limitation. You cannot manage at the perfection the solution and your use case. But if you want to show something into your organization, I think it's a very good solution to provide a quick solution. So the Power App versus traditional dev, we have the same process, but the process is faster. And if you want to make some application, you have to design, develop, test, and release. And agile development, you have to develop, and as we see, you can do the first step at each iteration to have a final release. And agile V2 development, it's you have to make some release at each iteration, and you have a good version. Okay. So we have some documentation over Power App. You can learn some so you can learn how to manage a Power App with the Microsoft documentation. You have a .com documentation. You have MS Learn Pass. You have a platform to learn everything over Microsoft. So with the Power App too, and you have a help solution with powerwizard.microsoft.com too.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Sylvestre. Yes, the help is because in the Power Platform you can be connected to the community, and it's really helpful because you can ask. It's like a forum dedicated to Power App or Power Platforms, and you can share your apps, your problems, and generally there's always somebody who's going to try to answer your question. That's why Microsoft created the community, this kind of community edition with Power Apps, because it's a way to generate a lot of people in the community and to have a lot of contributors around Power Apps. So, and if you want to go further through Azure IoT, you will have the documentation. So there's a specific documentation for IoT fundamentals with all modules of IoT, but there's also a really specific specific documentation about IoT centrals. And there's just before this session, I just saw a tweet from Ranga Vadlamundi, which is a chief project of IoT in Microsoft, and there's some news about Azure Active Directory with IoT Central, and there's some kind of touchy problems about the sign-on with Azure IoT Central, especially if you use some connectors or if you have to connect through external API. So there's also a learning path dedicated to IoT. So we share the link for that, and there's a specific channel in channel 9 specific to Internet of Things, which called this is the Internet of Things show, and it's pretty rich, and there's a lot of examples, a lot of recs about how to use IoT infrastructure, IoT services in Azure, and there's also a lot of tutorials, but that's really quick tutorial. Generally, it lasts half an hour or 1 hour. So if you have for your between during your lunchtime, or if you have a little time, that's really quick to hear or to watch. If you want to become certified, currently there's two really big opportunities. So Ignite was last week. So there's still the Ignite Cloud Skill Challenge, which give you a 100% voucher. So it's total free certification. It's available till the end of this month. So you have the link about that. There's some pretty limitation about Ignite Cloud Skill Challenge. So be careful, because you can do several challenge, but you will have only one voucher. And generally, I think that the voucher is going to be related through the challenge you finished. So if you finish several, I already did 3 or 4 challenges, but I know that I will have only one voucher, and I don't know if I will have the choice of the exams that I want to pass or not, because I think that the voucher are going to be available from 6th or 7th, April 7th, something like that. So it's some kind of to be aware of. But there's also a 3 days to learn challenge. There's you will have a half price voucher for any certification you want, and it's available till the end of June, of next June. And what is interesting, that's the challenges are not the same between the Ignite Cloud Skill Challenge and the 30 Days to Learn It Challenge. And in the 30 Days to Learn It Challenge, there's 2 specific challenges related to this session. There's a Power Platform App Maker and the Azure IoT Developers. I don't remember very well, but I think it's something like about 25 or 30 hours courses for each challenges. So you will have a good opportunity to learn and to pass free exam or free certification after your learning path if you want. So because it's free, don't miss this opportunity. So that's the end of the question. Thank you for joining us. If you have any question, do not hesitate. I'm still here to answer it.